Good morning, Denise Dryden here. I'm out on Bainbridge Island doing my weekly Sunday morning video. And today I want to talk about what is it going to take to create a new normal? Like, what is the new normal, right? And so sort of an overview is that I'm going to bring in yoga, meditation. I'm going to look at that 0 point. I'm going to go back to some work that I've done before in the past called the New Earth's Children. And I'm going to look at our approach and how we create something new. So hang in there. I'm going to blend a bunch of things, and who knows, might go someplace else too, because sometimes it has a mind of its own, right? So today I want to start with meditation. For those of you who've learned the fine art of meditation, there's that 0 point in the middle, right? Where everything just sort of gets quiet and disappears. Where we find ourselves and we let go of time and we let go of space. And there's that stillness and that presence there that is magnificent, right? And that 0 point, stillness, presence, is something that we have practices to develop. We have skills and we've been honing those, okay? So right now, as we're going into this lockdown, there's been an opportunity to have a little bit more of that, hopefully, right? So when we get to that stillness and that presence place, there's 3 things that happen. One is that we end up accepting who we are, sort of all we know about the world. It kind of falls into place and we go, yeah, okay. My perceptions increase and I'm like fully aware of my role in the world. That's number 1. Number 2, naturally, when we hit that stillness point, everything that doesn't belong to us disappears. It's pushed out. It's gone. The third thing is that we feel alive and awake. It's like, wow, I had no idea that there was this level of consciousness available, this level of awareness, right? So we're awake, okay? And, from that place, as an individual, we get to have this heightened awareness, which is, okay, now I can see the world through a different set of eyes. So when we run this new life, or run life from this new place, right? When we see it and we can feel it, and it helps with our direction and our relationships and our parenting and our work, we can start to bring this stillness, this presence into everything that we're doing. And since this lockdown, we've had a lot of opportunities to focus on creating that stillness, that place of presence, that awake persona, right? We have less demands. We don't have those outer schedules. We don't have commutes. We don't have those constant social environments, kids' schedules, all of those things that sort of, or I should say kids' sports and activity schedules, not school. And we've created our own rhythms. We've started to sort of find out what works for us each day as we have these levels of freedoms. So what we're talking about is that through this lockdown, we've created a global 0 point. We've created a place where maybe we can all find our rhythms. So if we're finding these rhythms, what have you noticed? What has been actually happening for you? What is your body feeling like? So for those of you who've been following my videos, I've done some presentations, I've done some interviews. I've talked a lot about this concept called the New Earth's Children, which is a set of energies that have been introduced and defined and brought in throughout the last decades since the late 70s, mid to late 70s. And I've been sort of as a historian putting them in perspective and laying them into the generations. So each of these energies is going to create their own new way of navigating, their own stillness point, their own focal point. And I wanted to sort of run that through you real quick so you could so we could take both this presence and these energies and blend them and start to look at, oh, there's a little bit more going on than I thought, right? Okay, so the very first energy that came onto this planet was the indigo energy, and that was mid 70s, late 70s. And the indigo, man, they're warriors, they're defenders. I've done presentations on this over the past, so I'm not going to go into it. You can go back on my videos and find them. They were also they were born right at the end of Aries and Chiron, which means that they're warriors, they're pioneers, they're action, they're fire, they're going to push things, and they're here for truth and justice. So they kind of look around and go, bullshit, that's not true, and they knock it down. And so, we've had this energy for the last 50 years of, teenagers, then young adults, then new parents, now, established baby boomers, late stage Gen Xers, just nailing the truths and defending it, right? So they're leading us through this lockdown, not the baby boomers. I'm talking about these Gen Xers, these ones who man, you talk about fire, you talk about leadership, you talk about their ability. Also sort of nestled within the indigos is also this, when Chiron was in Taurus or Chiron was in Gemini. So Taurus is kind of like, how do I calm things down? How do I get to a point of stillness where I start to see who I am? That's what Taurus's Chiron issue is. And Chiron and Gemini is what happens when my mind is playing games on me and what I think is true isn't really true and it's getting in the way. So we start blending all of this stuff and I go, wow, there's just no way I could make this up. That this indigo energy is a warrior for truth, and it has these sort of fire, action, push for the truth, find stillness, understand the role of the mind, and it's been going for the last 50 years. So those of you, who were born in the mid-70s, this is an interesting time for you. So we have the energy of leadership, that sort of need to know. They're going to set the pace. They're going to look at information. They're going to look at details, and they're going to find it. And so the indigos are the ones who are going to hold this really nasty, big stuff that's been going on, whether it's in our politics, whether it's in our economics, whether it's in our education systems. They're going to hold all that, and then they're going to start going, did you know this? Did you know this? Here we go. And so they're going to be the disseminators of the truth, and they're going to hold some really big stuff that not all of us want to know. And they will carry this information for the rest because they're at the forefront of that 0 point, making sure that we have all of the truths, making sure that we know how to navigate. So they're going to dig it up. They're going to follow the patterns, and they're going to look for inconsistencies. They're going to inform us, and they're going to protect us, and they will attack when the truths are being hidden. So this indigo energy is huge, right? So it's important to understand because the energies that follow after this are so different, right? So the next energy that came, and it came towards the late 80s, early 90s, was the crystalline kid, right? They're also deeply embedded into the millennials. So they're vibrational at their core. They're super sensitive. They're intelligent. They're kinesthetic. They're reactive to the external, to people, environment. They're self-focused. They gather together in pods with people that they feel most comfortable with because they're vibrational. It's kind of like, I can listen to you yak all you want, Mom, but when I hang with these friends of mine, I feel better, right? So they're frequency holders. They're the ones who sort of hold this new language and this new way of living. They're the ones who sort of started us down the spectrum exploration and the Asperger's, and they went through the school systems and they turned everything up on its ear as they've been going through. So whether it's school, whether it's digital communication, whether it's societal norms, they're just sort of going like, yeah, no, it doesn't feel good. I'm not going to do it. And so these frequency holders kind of came in and they just kind of set up camp and said, okay, we'll hold it here at this level. And this is our chill place. And this is what we're doing. So following them right at the turn of the millennial, which is at 2000 to 2010, we have this little small nested group called the rainbows. And the rainbows, man, they're the frequency blenders. And if you really go back in time between 2000 and 2010 is when we started to just blend everything, whether it was race, gender, education, grades, the way we learn. I'm going to do some homeschooling. I'm going to go to some school, and they sort of make things up and they make it work as they want. So they released the polarity. They didn't go, hey, this is right or wrong. This is black or white. This is good or bad. They went to, it's both. And I did a whole video on both and. These rainbows hold this blended energy, right? So they removed the hard lines. And they make it easier for us to sort of go and move around in those perceptions we have from that point of stillness, from that point of presence. And they've been really, really strong at opening our minds and opening systems and letting us see that, you know, holding a tough line isn't working for you right now. And so they've been kind of coming in and rubbing out those hard lines and making sure that we're doing a lot more open-minded growing. Okay, so from 2000 to 2010, these blenders came in, and so over the last 20 years, and they're really nested in the Gen Xers, right? They're the ones who make things up as they go along, and they're doing a beautiful job with it. Okay, so in 2010, everything changed on our planet. 2010, 2011, 2012 was the birth of the diamond energy onto this planet. And they're expanders. They're the frequency of expansion. And they hold 0 point. They hold presence. I always called them like the little Buddhas. They're wise. They look at you and they go, well, if you don't like the job, why would you work there? And to them, it's not an argument. They're just going like, this is out of alignment and you're saying this, so why are you doing that? They understand love. They understand how to hold it in their bodies. They understand compassion. They're kind. They're sweet children. And yeah, they're going to pattern parents and video games and everything that they see, of course, because that's what our culture does. But at their core, they're expanders. And this diamond energy is really what is launching all of us into where we are and what our future can be represented by. So with each of these energies, as they've come in, whether we started with the indigo, then we went into the crystal, then the rainbow and the diamond, we as a culture, we as a world, we as a global energy have expanded and accepted each of these energies. It comes in, boom, we become that. So we started as fighters, then we became vibrational, then we became blenders, and now we're expanders. So it makes sense that there's a lot of levels of stillness and presence and awakening going on our planet as each of these energies are starting to take on more place. Now, I can also talk about how I've seen these same energies in the education system, in the therapeutic boarding environments. I've seen how, and I've done presentations on how they impact the psychology and the treatment, and how we can sort of look at where they get anxious, where they get depressed, where they feel hopeless, and whether or not they even want to be here based on how this world is accepting this growth of vibration, right? Vibration to blending to expanding. And I dropped my notes, so hold on just a minute, okay? So it's really important to go to, if we are creating, right, this new normal, and we've got these energies that have been directing it to us, you know, it seems to me that I've got this little punch list of what new normal can look like or feel like. So the first thing is that we all now know on some level, based on this lockdown, what 0 point stillness presence feels like. Whether we're resistant to it, whether we love it, whether we've fallen in love with it, we understand that there's a 0 point and that we can get to it because we have been cordoned off and given time to discover that. That's the first one. It's interesting. Number 2, if we use this stillness to interact and navigate, then we can watch for places where we align. Like, you know what? I'm starting to get busy again. I don't like it. You know, like that schedule isn't working for me anymore. So we can now get to choose if we can we get to choose how we participate in what aligns with us and what doesn't. So we interact and we love each other and we parent and we guide from this place, which is that we use stillness as our interaction and navigation. That's number 2. Number 3, when we hold stillness and presence in our bodies, our energy system interacts with other people who hold it. And so it's almost like when I was doing that Taurus a couple weeks ago, that system of energy, that we start to hold presence together as a community. And so I think you've noticed that whether it's our apartment complexes or our neighborhoods or our towns are having these really quiet sort of interactions with each other, and everything seems to be softening a little bit. And I kind of liken it to the Avatar movie where you plug into the mother tree and with their braids, and then slowly each human being starts to glow with this blue light, and it starts to pattern and repeat with each other. Okay, so that's number 3, is that we hold it and we spread it together as a community. Number 4, when we're in presence and stillness, we're in choice and opportunity. Choice and opportunity, which means we get to make conscious choices and we get to create opportunities of something else that would have happened. When things get quiet, it's kind of like when a kid gets really good and bored, something drops in front of you, you go, oh, okay, I'll read that book, and you fall in love with reading, or you start to run, or you do something that you would have never done before. You make an opportunity turn into something beautiful, right? So when we create these opportunities, we're going forward in a different direction. So our new normal is based on choice and opportunity, because we have this point of stillness, this 0 point where we now know what it looks like and what it feels like in our bodies. Number 5, we align with ourselves and our relationships differently, which means that those people that don't align with us, we start letting them go. Those people that do align with us, we start stepping towards that. And we start, choosing to end what no longer serves us, and it moves aside. Because the most beautiful part of when we hold stillness in our body is that what doesn't align with it just naturally disappears. So we're going to see some of those old work environments, old relationships, old expectations, kind of like, I'm not going to do that anymore. It doesn't feel... I don't feel like I can align with that, and I'm not happy. I'm not even able to hold this stillness point when I go there. So these magical, right, rainbow diamond energies that are holding us throughout this lockdown, notice, how does it feel to be in that place of both blending and expanding and softening and looking at things from a different light? What does it begin to, what happens is you begin to shape who you are through this? Because I think that this is really the new normal. I think that this new normal is going to be how we hold the ability to blend and expand our presence. And so this is the very beginning. We're at the 0 point in Earth's history, and we get to go forward from here through presence and awakeness and aliveness and create what we want. So if you want more information on sort of how I came up with that, what we can do, how we can sustain your awakened state, let me know. You can find me on DeniseDrydenCoaching.com, and have a fabulous Sunday. Have a fabulous week, getting curious and staying present. Take care. Bye-bye.